The summer air hung heavy in the small suburban town where I grew up. From the outside, our home looked like any other. White siding, a neat little porch, and a lawn my mom tended carefully. But inside, things were never simple. My name is Emily Carter, and this is the story of the day my entire view of family, forgiveness, and truth was shaken forever. I was 22 at the time, just finishing up my last year of college. I had come home for the summer before starting my internship in the city. Mom was thrilled to have me back. She had always been my anchor, the one person who stood steady through every storm. But when I walked through the door that afternoon, I saw someone sitting at our kitchen table who I never thought I'd see there again, my older brother, Ryan. Ryan and I were only 3 years apart, but it often felt like a lifetime. He had always been the rebellious one, the one who pushed boundaries, broke rules, and carried a storm wherever he went. When I was younger, I admired him. He had this charm, this fearless way of standing up to the world. But as the years passed, that same fearlessness turned into recklessness. He got into trouble at school, fell in with the wrong crowd, and by the time he was 19, he had disappeared into a life that tore our family apart. It wasn't just the trouble he caused for himself. It was the trail he left behind. Arguments, slammed doors, tears, and long nights of my mom worrying. I had watched her try so hard to fix him, to believe in him, until finally, one night 3 years ago, Ryan did something that forced him out of our home. I won't go into the exact details, but it was enough to fracture the trust between him and our family completely. I swore that day I'd never let him hurt Mom again. So when I saw him sitting at the table that afternoon, my heart froze. He looked different, leaner, older, worn down by something. But his eyes, those same mischievous blue eyes, looked up at me with a flicker of hope. "Hey, Em," he said softly, as if nothing had happened. I stood frozen in the doorway. "What are you doing here?" Before he could answer, Mom came bustling into the kitchen, her face glowing with an excitement I hadn't seen in years. "Emily, honey, look who's home. Your brother came back. He wants to make things right." I stared at her in disbelief. Home. That word felt like a lie. He wasn't supposed to be home. Not after everything. "Mom," I said carefully, "can we talk?" But she was too caught up in her joy. She kept fussing over him, making him food, telling me how he had changed. She said he had called her last week, told her he wanted another chance, and she believed him. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her all the reasons why this was a mistake. But the look on her face stopped me. For the first time in years, she looked happy. And I couldn't take that from her. That night, I stayed in my room, listening to the quiet murmur of their voices downstairs. I should have been relieved. After all, wasn't this what Mom had prayed for? A second chance, a family whole again? But deep down, I couldn't shake the knot in my stomach. Because I knew what Ryan had done. And I knew how easily he could do it again. The next morning, I found him in the backyard, sitting on the old swing Dad had built before he left us years ago. Ryan looked lost in thought, but when he saw me, he smiled. "You don't look happy to see me," he said. "Should I be?" I shot back. His smile faded. "I know you're angry. I don't blame you. But I'm not the same person I was." I crossed my arms. "You've said that before." This time, his eyes dropped to the ground. "Yeah, I know." For the next few days, Ryan tried to prove himself. He helped Mom with chores, fixed things around the house, even cooked dinner once or twice. He laughed with her in the kitchen, and I could see her shoulders lighten in a way they hadn't in years. But I couldn't bring myself to join in. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then it did. One evening, Mom asked me to run to the store with her, but I stayed behind to finish some work on my laptop. Ryan was in the living room, flipping through the channels on TV. When Mom left, I went into the kitchen to grab a glass of water, and that's when I saw it, his old habits surfacing. He had left his phone on the counter, buzzing with a message. I shouldn't have looked, but something in me pushed me closer. The screen lit up with words that made my stomach drop. It wasn't just a casual message from a friend. It was a name I recognized from years ago, someone from his old crowd. The same people who had pulled him into the spiral that ruined him before. The message was short but clear. "Meet me tonight. Same place." My hands shook as I stared at the screen. He hadn't changed. Not really. He was just hiding it better this time. When Mom came home, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to tell her, to show her the proof. But when I looked at her face, glowing with joy, I froze. She finally had her son back. If I shattered that illusion, would it break her too? That night, I stayed awake, listening for the sound of the front door. Sure enough, sometime after midnight, I heard it creak open. Quiet footsteps. Then silence. The next morning, he was gone. Mom looked worried, but when he finally stumbled back in, he had an excuse ready. Just went for a walk, he said. She believed him. I didn't. The cycle continued for weeks. Every time he earned back a little trust, I would catch a glimpse of the truth behind the curtain. The messages. The late-night disappearances. The way his lies slipped so easily off his tongue. I kept it all to myself, carrying the weight of it in silence, until finally, one night, I couldn't anymore. I found him in the kitchen, rummaging through the fridge. My voice was steady, but my chest was pounding. How long are you going to keep lying to her? He froze, then turned slowly. What are you talking about? I took a step closer. I saw the messages. I know where you've been going. For a moment, his mask cracked. Then he sighed and closed the fridge door. You don't understand, Em. Then make me, I challenged. He looked at me with eyes I barely recognized, tired, haunted, and desperate. I'm trying, okay? I really am. But it's not that easy to walk away from everything. Those people, that life, it doesn't just let go of you. Something in his voice made me pause. I realized, maybe for the first time, that his recklessness wasn't just about choices. It was about chains. But before I could say anything, Mom walked in. She looked between us, sensing the tension. What's going on? I opened my mouth, ready to tell her the truth, but then I saw Ryan's face. For once, the storm in his eyes wasn't defiance, it was fear. He didn't want to lose her again. So I swallowed my words. Nothing, I said quickly. Just talking. But that night, as I lay awake in bed, I realized I couldn't keep protecting him forever. And I couldn't keep protecting Mom from the truth either. The breaking point came a week later. Mom had planned a small family dinner, just the three of us. She was glowing with happiness as she set the table. But Ryan never showed up. Hours passed, the food grew cold, and Mom's smile faded into worry. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I told her everything. The messages. The late nights. The lies. Her face crumbled as the truth sank in. She didn't say a word at first, just sat there, staring at the table she had so carefully set. When she finally looked up, her eyes were full of tears.